Help me. Claim me tonight. The rancher did it, and that night stayed with them. It was a cold evening on the Montana plains, the kind where the wind cuts through your coat like a blade. The ranch lights flickered against the dark sky as Ethan Graves rode back home, his horse's hooves thudding against the frozen dirt. He'd spent years alone on that ranch, too many nights with nothing but silence and the sound of cattle moaning in the distance. But that night wasn't silent. As he reached the gate, he heard something, a faint voice, trembling through the wind. Help me. Ethan froze. The voice came again, softer this time, desperate. Please, help me. He dismounted quickly, lantern in hand, scanning the tall grass near the barn. That's when he saw her, a young woman, barefoot, her dress torn, her face streaked with tears and dirt. Her eyes met his, wide with fear and pleading. Who are you? Ethan asked, his voice low but steady. She looked around like she didn't trust the shadows. My name's Lila, she whispered. They're looking for me. Please, don't let them find me. Ethan didn't ask who they were. He saw enough in her eyes, pain, exhaustion, and something else. Something broken. He led her inside the old ranch house, offered her his coat, and poured her a cup of hot coffee. She held the mug with trembling hands, whispering, I didn't know where else to go. I saw your light. Ethan nodded. You're safe here. But deep down, he knew it wasn't that simple. In a town like Wolf Creek, everyone's got a secret, and strangers don't just show up in the middle of the night unless they're running from something bad. Outside, the wind howled louder. Ethan glanced out the window and saw horse tracks leading up the hill, and fresh ones at that. Someone had followed her. He quietly blew out the lantern, whispering, You said they're looking for you. Who are they? Her eyes glistened. Men from the Hollow Creek gang. I ran after what they did. What did they do? She hesitated. Then her voice cracked. They killed my brother. Ethan clenched his jaw. Hollow Creek. He knew that name too well. He'd lost friends to those men years ago. He thought they'd moved on, but clearly, evil doesn't die easy in these parts. He turned toward the door, rifle in hand. You stay inside. Whatever happens, don't make a sound. Lila's voice broke. Please, don't go out there alone. Ethan gave her a look, calm but fierce. I've been alone a long time, ma'am. I know how to handle the dark. Outside, the snow began to fall, soft and relentless. Somewhere in the distance, hooves crunched the earth. And as Ethan stepped into the cold night, Lila's trembling voice echoed in his mind. Help me, claim me tonight. But what did she mean by that? Morning came gray and quiet. The snow had buried every track, hiding the danger beneath its cold disguise. Ethan didn't sleep. He sat by the window all night, watching the horizon, waiting for a sign of movement. Lila stirred from the old sofa near the fire, clutching the blanket tight. Did they come? She asked softly. Not yet, Ethan replied. But they will. He poured her some coffee, black and strong, the kind that burned your throat but kept you awake. She watched him, like she was trying to figure out whether to trust him or not. You don't talk much, she said. Talking doesn't fix much out here, he answered. Work does. Guns do. A faint smile touched her lips. You sound like my brother. Ethan looked up. What was his name? Luke. We had a small ranch out by the canyon. When my pa died, Luke took care of everything. Then the Hollow Creek gang showed up, said we owed protection money. Luke refused. They burned the barn first, then they shot him. Her voice trembled, and she stared into the fire. I ran before they could find me. Ethan's grip tightened around the coffee cup. You did right. Lila turned to him. But now they'll come for me. And anyone who helps me. Ethan leaned back, eyes steady. Then they'll meet me first. By noon, he had the rifle loaded and the horses ready. If we ride west, we can reach the ridge before sunset, he said. From there, we'll have a clear view if they follow. She hesitated. Why are you helping me? You don't even know me. He looked out toward the plains, his jaw tight. Once, someone helped me too. When I didn't deserve it. They rode hard through the afternoon, wine slicing across their faces. Lila tried to stay strong, but every rustle of the grass made her flinch. By dusk, they reached an old cabin near the ridge, a place Ethan hadn't visited in years. The walls creaked with the wind, The roof half collapsed, but it was shelter. Inside, Lila lit a small lantern. The light flickered across her face, soft and uncertain. "You said someone helped you once. Who was it?" Ethan stared at the fire for a long time before answering. "My wife, Clara. She believed I could be better than the man I was. But I wasn't. Not then." "What happened to her?" "She died. Fever took her the same winter our boy was born. I buried them both behind the hill." His voice cracked just a little, barely enough to notice. Lila whispered, "I'm sorry." He gave a small nod. "Don't be. Pain has its purpose. It reminds us we're still alive." The silence between them deepened, heavy but strange, like something unspoken was passing through the air. Then, just before midnight, the sound came, distant but clear. "Horses." Lila's hand flew to her mouth. "They found us." Ethan rose, loading his rifle. "Stay behind the fire. Don't move." She reached for him. "Ethan, please. If they take me, they'll kill you too." He turned to her, eyes steady and quiet. "Not tonight." Outside, the hoofbeats grew louder, closer, until the walls began to tremble. The Hollow Creek gang had come. And this time, Ethan wasn't running. The cabin trembled as the first bullet tore through the wooden wall, splintering the frame beside Ethan's head. Lila screamed and ducked behind the table, her hands trembling as the sound of horses and gunfire thundered outside. Ethan moved fast, steady as a man who'd danced with death before. He kicked the door shut, slid his rifle onto the window ledge, and returned fire. Each shot cracked through the night, echoing down the ridge. 5 riders, maybe 6. Their torches flickered in the darkness like devils circling the flames of hell. "Ethan." Lila's voice trembled. "They're surrounding us." "I know," he said, his voice calm but fierce. "Stay low. Keep your head down." He fired again, hitting one of the riders clean in the chest. The man dropped into the snow without a sound. But the others didn't stop. They spread out, their shouts cutting through the wind. Then a voice called out from the dark, deep and taunting. "Graves. We know she's in there. Hand over the girl, and maybe we'll let you live." Ethan's jaw tightened. "You boys never could tell the truth." Burke, their leader, laughed coldly. "You think one man can stand against 6? Ethan didn't answer. He just chambered another round. "Guess we'll find out." A shot cracked through the window. Glass shattered, grazing Ethan's cheek. Lila crawled toward him, her eyes wild. "Ethan, please, there's too many." He grabbed her wrist, steady and firm. "You trust me?" "Yes," she whispered, tears glinting in the firelight. "Then do exactly what I say." He pointed to a narrow hatch behind the fireplace. "There's a crawl space under the cabin. Get in there. Don't come out until it's over." Her voice broke. "No, not without you." He looked at her, eyes soft but full of unspoken weight. "You came here asking for help. This is it. Let me do what I should have done years ago, protect someone who deserves it." Before she could answer, the back door burst open. One of the gang members lunged through, knife raised. Ethan turned fast, blocking the blow and slamming the man into the wall. The knife cut across his shoulder, blood blooming through his shirt. Lila grabbed the iron poker from the fire and swung it hard. The man fell to the floor with a thud. She stared at Ethan, shaking. "You're hurt." He grinned faintly, wiping the blood from his arm. "Not the first time. Won't be the last." Outside, Burke shouted, "Last chance, Graves. Step out, or we burn you both alive." Ethan glanced at the oil lamp on the table. Then he turned to Lila. "They want to play with fire." He murmured, "Fine." He grabbed his matchstick and nodded toward her. "When I say run, you run. Don't look back." The gunfire grew louder, closer. Burke's men kicked at the door. One more hit, and it would splinter. Ethan lit the match and dropped it onto the spilled oil. Flames raced across the floorboards, devouring the wood in seconds. Smoke filled the cabin, choking the air. "Now, Lila," he shouted. She hesitated, but his eyes told her everything. So she ran, crawled through the hatch and out into the freezing dark. The fire's glow followed her, reflecting in her tears. She stumbled through the snow, coughing, until she reached the ridge. Behind her, the cabin was an inferno, flames roaring into the black sky. Gunshots cracked inside, then went silent. "Ethan!" She screamed into the night. "Ethan!" No answer, only fire. Then, footsteps. She turned, breathless. Out of the smoke came Ethan, staggering, his shirt torn and face blackened with soot. He clutched his side, blood seeping through his fingers. Lila ran to him, catching him before he fell. "You're alive. Thank God, you're alive." He smiled faintly, breath shallow. Guess they weren't ready for a rancher who fights back. Behind them, the cabin collapsed, sparks flying into the dawn. The Hollow Creek gang was gone. Burned, broken, finished. The snow fell soft and slow, covering the blood like it wanted to forget. Lila pressed her hands to his wound, trying to stop the bleeding. "Hold on, please, Ethan. You can't leave me now." He looked up at her, eyes full of something gentle, something she hadn't seen in anyone for a long, long time. "Lila, you did it. You're safe now." "No," she whispered fiercely, gripping his hand. "We're safe. Together." He smiled, just a little. "I told you to run. And I told you no," she said, tears spilling down her cheeks. "You saved my life. I'm not letting you go." Ethan coughed, the pain in his chest deep, but his hand brushed her face softly. "You remember what I said last night? About pain reminding us we're alive?" She nodded, crying harder. He whispered, "You make me feel alive again." Then, for a moment, silence. Just the wind, the fire crackling in the distance, and her heartbeat echoing in the cold morning air. Lila held him close, whispering, "Please, don't go. Not now." But Ethan's eyes slowly closed, a faint smile frozen on his lips. As the first light of dawn broke over the plains, she stayed there, cradling him, refusing to let go. The snow began to fall harder, blanketing the ridge, covering everything: pain, fire, and blood. Days later, the town found her there, sitting beside the ruins, silent but strong. She buried Ethan on the hill overlooking the ranch, the same place he'd once buried his wife and son. Every night after that, she lit a lantern on the porch, a single light glowing through the dark, for him. And whenever the wind howled through the plains, she could still hear his voice, steady, calm, and full of quiet fire. "Help me, claim me tonight." But it wasn't a plea anymore. It was a memory, and a promise. A promise that love, even born from pain, can outlast the darkest night. Thank you so much for watching this story till the very end. Your support means more than words can ever say. If you felt the depth of this journey, don't forget to give it a like, share it with someone who needs it, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel. Together, we'll keep bringing powerful stories to life, and your presence here makes all the difference.